Hello, so in this video we're going to look at the Turkish Getup. It's going to take about 10 minutes. Reason being is that there's many facets or many aspects to this movement. The main thing is that you don't want to focus on this movement on getting everything right the first time, because there's so many different stages to the movement, going up and also down. It's easy to kind of get sucked into one particular area. Try when you're going through this movement to keep the big picture in mind. So before we start, I'm just going to show you the movement, the Turkish Getup as a whole. Try to look at the movement big picture style rather than focusing in on one particular point. And then we'll break it down into hopefully an easy to understand way that you can easily start to implement in your own training. Before we start though, I just want to go through why you might need this movement, and we'll touch on this as we go through. This is a good movement that will help you with your, firstly, coordination. Okay? There's a lot of things working simultaneously here. So it's a good exercise here for you to use if you are potentially an athlete, playing sports, or just training for general health. Coordination and being aware of your body is very, very important, both for long-term health but also injury prevention. For example, preventing trips and falls and things like that. This is also a great movement for shoulder health. This is one of those moves where if you do it with consistency and good technique, over time people with achy shoulders will generally see a massive improvement in those achy shoulders. Reason being is that the Getup takes you through all the possible positions that you can put your shoulder in. Okay, your shoulder's going through flexion, extension, everything's happening, and you really do develop all the smaller muscle groups that you might not develop from just doing pressing alone. So all the stabilizers, everything becomes stronger as a result of practicing this. The final reason why I think this is a great movement for you to do is that it trains your core and teaches it how to work in conjunction with your legs and arms. Okay, so core exercise is great. Core exercises that train both midsection, upper body, and lower body simultaneously, even better. This is an exercise that teaches you that the body is one unit. Okay, so 3 reasons there why you might train this: coordination and just injury prevention generally, shoulder health, and core strength. So I'm going to show you the whole move, and then we'll go through how you can do it. Okay, so that is the Turkish Getup, all the way up and all the way down. So let's look at the positions here, starting with the first one. The setup is quite important. You want to make sure that you get this right. The most important thing about the setup is the distance of your feet apart. Okay, if they're too narrow, the roll will tend to just push you over, okay, and you'll end up kind of rolling over like this. You want to make sure you get the legs a good distance apart. So you want about 45 degrees. So a nice way to do this is to just basically, when you're lying on the ground, put your hand on your hip. Then, without moving this part of the arm, just extend the arm. Okay. So you might have seen in that video where I'm laying down here like this. I've got my kettlebell here. I put this hand on the hip. I extend, and that gives me about 45 degrees. Okay. I want to mirror my angle of my feet, more or less, so the legs will be about 40-45 degrees apart. And then from here, I'm going to basically push through this and pull through this. So it's a push and a pull. Okay, so these two happen simultaneously. So I push through here and pull through here. Okay, so let's look at that again. Push, pull. Okay, so throughout this move, I'm keeping a long, tall spine. This bit is quite important, right? So we want to make sure that we're not flexing forward. Okay, so I'll show you. This is not a long, tall spine. You can see I've got a curve in my back. This is not good, okay? We want to keep the spine long and tall. So when you're doing this, try to think about sending your chest over to the side of your body. Okay, so you're going to send your chest to the other side of the room. So I'm here. I'm going to push, pull, send my chest this way. Okay, now I'm going to try on this stage to keep my eyes up on the weight and my elbow locked. From this position, I'm literally just going to put my hand on the ground and prop myself up. So I go from here to here. Okay? From this position, you might feel a bit unstable, like that hand is too far out. So bring it in until you feel stable. Okay? And you can keep that long, tall spine. Right. From here, the next step, you're just going to sweep the leg in. Okay? So you can go here, like this. So keeping your bum on the ground, just bend the leg like you're going to sit cross-legged. And you're going to now take this leg under. So this is the hardest part of the move for most people. All you're going to do is drag this leg underneath your hips and underneath your body. So we need to move just enough to fit this leg under, no more. So I'm here. The way we do this, we push through here and you push through here. So you're pushing just enough through your leg and your arm to lift the hips. So if you do that, you'll notice that the hips come up. Okay? We want to lift just enough to drag the leg through. So keeping the eyes up on the kettlebell, I push and drag. Okay? Notice there wasn't a big hip lift, then a drag. It's a drag, just enough hip lift to get the leg underneath. Now in this position, you want to basically check that you've got 3 points of contact here. Okay, so I've got 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. I know we've got the foot as well, but these are the 3 main ones that are supporting the body. Okay, so again, I have that long, tall spine. Nothing's collapsed, nothing's rounded. I've got my eyes up on that kettlebell. Okay. Another important distinction here is this leg should be in line with that hand, okay, more or less. So adjust it if it's not quite there. From this position, I'm going to use my hips and push to the side. So I'm going to flex at those hips and come to here. At this stage, I take my eyes off the kettlebell and look straight ahead. Keep that arm long. Turn around. Okay. Arm stays long. Stand up. Take the leg back. Take the leg around. Now, put the hand on the hip. Flex the hip. Draw that line away from the knee. So remember, here we want to flex and draw a line. So we've got an extension here of your knee, extension of your thigh. You want to follow that line and load. Eyes up. Okay, so remember, again, just like how we transitioned earlier from looking up to straight ahead, we're going to now do the opposite. So as soon as that hand touches down, you should be looking up. Okay, if not a little bit before. From here, you're going to do the same. Push through here to get a bit of a lift, and you're going to sit down. Okay, now, sometimes when you sit, you get in a position where this foot gets trapped behind the ankle. That's fine, just switch it. Okay, you might have seen that happen to me earlier. My foot was trapped behind the ankle here. All I did was did this. Okay, if that's not the case and you're here, that's absolutely fine, no problem. All we're going to do is straighten the leg. Okay, so again, we reverse what we did earlier. Eyes up, straighten. Now from here, I'm going to twist, okay, through this hand to control myself down to the elbow. So I'm going to almost screw my hand into the floor, okay, and I'm going to try, while gripping the floor, to spin my hand all the way around to point and face the front of the room. Obviously, my fingers are going to be gripping the ground hard and they're not going to spin around like this, but I've got that rotation in the shoulder. This is going to control that descent. Okay, so from here, I pull, and I'm now on the elbow. Finally, push through that forearm, push through that elbow, and get yourself down to the ground. Bring the kettlebell down, and roll to the side. So that's the Turkish Getup broken down into the stages. Practice with body weight only initially until you're comfortable with that. I'm going to show you another rep here and see if you can see the points that we talked about. Okay, so for example, where you change the eye position, stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to try and talk through it as well as we go, but try and visually kind of make a roadmap of the key positions that you need to be hitting at each stage. Okay, there you have it, the get up. Try this movement out, see how you get on with it. This is a quick start guide to getting started with the movement. One tip that I would say, and something you'll probably figure out quite quickly, is that it's quite hard to stabilize the kettlebell and move through all those transitions. Focus when you're holding the kettlebell, whenever you remember, on imagining that kettlebell growing to the sky. So rather than just letting it sit passively in the hand and hoping that arm stays locked, you're going to squeeze the kettlebell hard and imagine it's growing or lengthening to the sky in that arm. Okay, so whenever you remember, you're going to use that visualization that the kettlebell is growing, your arm is growing longer towards the ceiling. Okay. At first, you'll notice that occasionally you'll forget and the arm will unlock, but whenever you remember, arm grows to the ceiling, and eventually it will start to become second nature, and you'll be able to go through the positions and the moves and the transitions whilst retaining that locked elbow and that solid shoulder. Try it out.